And we are back. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us again on another thrilling edition of the Doing All Right podcast. I'm over here in the Iron Throne. Brian's on his side of the mothership there, and we got questions for you, okay? There are no breaking news moments that happened yesterday. If we have breaking news, we'll do breaking news on Friday, or if we have a game on Thursday, we'll recap the Thursday game on Friday. But on a normal Friday, we'll be taking questions from you guys. So Brian will put out a post. I'll put out a post. Don't ask us about draft in September because we're not going to answer those questions. But we
asking
will
Giants. You can
ask what I said on the last take we did. Crown Giants Media.
Giants Media.
Ask Crown Giants Media about their draft picks. But we will not talk draft right now. The Cowboys are too hot and interesting. So we got questions. And some Voch says this, Bryan Broaddus.
Okay.
The first question is actually a Voch says this, Bryan. Voch says this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bryan, bro. Do you think the Dallas Cowboys had interest in Clowney because of the player that he is, or they really thought they needed help in the edge room? I thought about this when I listened to you.
Yeah.
And you were really confused, or you're curious.
I was very curious.
I was curious as to why. Well, we feel like we got guys in the edge room.
We do.
Why?
Right.
If Clowney is so good, or if they see him as so good, it doesn't matter who we have. Or did they get Clowney because maybe they don't feel good about a player that's on the team already? Brian, what you think?
Man, trying to kind of figure out both things.
Yes, sir.
And first off, ask somebody yesterday in the organization about their true interest in Clowney. And this was on my program on 105.3 The Fan. And I got back, the message was, hey, we're interested in signing Clowney. Clowney's not interested in being here right now. So a couple things happened to me here, Voch.
Sure.
I was in that situation where I'm going, okay, did an agent get to him and text him and say, hey, don't promise anything. Don't let Jerry talk to you about doing anything. You know, was there something that maybe there's other opportunities? Okay, first off, I want to get that out of the way. Cowboys were interested in signing Clowney. They still are. But Clowney and his crew said, we'll wait. We'll see. Maybe there's another team that, he's wants to be involved with that's come to the forefront. So that's number one on my list. I wondered if there's something to do with Fowler. Is there something to do with, hey, we're putting too much on Ezra Raku's plate?
Yeah.
Hey, we really, we need to play with more discipline.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that. And we need, I personally believe that Marshawn Kneeland needs to start. I think you and I share that common thread or that common belief. But I don't think you bring him in just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see, hey, let's check on Clowney. The fact that they wanted to sign him, there's something more there. And I think it's more about they don't think that maybe Fowler can be the starter, and they want to go with and bring Fowler and others off the bench.
Well, see, think about it like this, Brian. When Micah was here, there was some excitement around Fowler being your second guy and Donovan being your third guy.
Right.
Micah's gone. Now those guys bump back up a little bit.
Bump up.
Right? So maybe if you have Clowney, maybe you don't have to lean into, Fowler as much as a second option or whatever, right? Or if he's you don't have to demand this Fowler being the first guy out.
Right.
Right? I kind of like a little bit when all the guys are kind of even and we don't play politics at all. I always go back to running back, and I'm always taking the opportunity to beat up on Zeke a little bit, but I think this is the best example of it. If we have running backs that are all equal, pardon me, if we have running backs that are they're all the same running back, the best guy can just go. Or we'll just rotate guys out. But if there's a guy with some sort of seniority or some guy with a big name, then you kind of force that guy into starting for you almost. And I think you get worse that way. With the edge room now, Brian, Dante Fowler's got the money behind him. Dante Fowler's got the name behind him. He was here. So you don't really see the Cowboys spending money on Dante Fowler to bench him.
Right.
But if Clowney's here,
right,
now you can in good conscience say, well, Marshawn Kneeland's going to be our main run D guy, our left end base defensive end guy. Clowney may be a little more sharp than Fowler is. Now there's this world where you can see, because they're on a similar tier now, there's this world where you can see Fowler being rotated out and Clowney being rotated in, or vice versa, Clowney going first, then maybe Donovan Ezeraku, then maybe Fowler. I think there needs to be room to where if Fowler's playing badly, he can come out and somebody else qualified comes in.
Yeah, and the thing that kind of bothers me is I think that Marshawn Kneeland could be that guy.
100%.
And so now are you saying, well, hey, I don't really trust what Marshawn Kneeland's doing now?
The word of the day, Brian, is juice. Does Marshawn Kneeland have enough juice to take Dante's spot? Not juice physically, right? Mm-hmm. Juice is slang terms right now, right? But does he have enough clout in that room? Does he have enough? Oh, well, our second round pick.
Yeah.
Does he start over the guy that we just paid money to?
Yeah, but see, why make this trade?
100%.
Why make this trade if you didn't feel like that you had guys? And you're not going to replace Micah.
Sure.
You're just not. You're not going to replace Micah until
he looked good yesterday too, Brian.
Yeah, he did. He did. But that's what Micah Parsons we've seen moments of. Where week 2 he looks like he's rejuvenated a little bit. Maybe the scheme's helping him a little bit more. But now he's out to try and prove that he's worth the money that they're paying him. Mm-hmm. And so this is where the Cowboys have to. They obviously felt good enough about Fowler, Williams. This is some of the things that we talk about the team that they're playing this week, the Giants. Mm-hmm. Same way, it's like, oh, hey, we've got this player, check. Yeah. We got this player, check. And really, are you evaluating your team the right way? Mm-hmm. Are you really going in there and saying, okay, we're going to be fine? They obviously felt like with Fowler, with Williams, they felt like they had enough guys there.
Yeah.
And this seems just kind of strange to just week 2, all of a sudden we're going, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe we have to do something else.
Let me ask you this, Brian. The Cowboys clearly have an advantage over the Giants' offensive line.
They do.
What if we go into that game and Fowler doesn't do what we think he's what he should do versus those guys? What if he's getting
Elemenor
is
Hudson,
got him trapped up in there and he can't get off those blocks? Like, what do we do then?
See, this is where, to me, it is now you got to say, okay, well, less him, more Williams.
Yeah.
Less him, more, Ezeraku. James Houston. That's where I would pivot right now.
Somebody asked a question. I didn't pull it here because I didn't think it'll be relevant, so I apologize here. But me thinking of that question that I saw earlier, how long do you go until we think about bringing up Land from the practice squad?
Yeah.
Like maybe he's a guy that can come in and give some extra pass rush for you, assuming that the Dante Fowler thing doesn't go well. And ladies and gentlemen, we just having a conversation. Dante Fowler can probably go out there and do fantastic, but we're having a conversation here, just some dialogue here. Do you go to your practice squad?
I think they're already thinking about options. If you're thinking about signing Clowney, now was Land, where does he? Absolutely. Is he showing enough in practice to be able to get that call up and all? Yeah, I think that really if you get in this game, and you said it perfectly, you get in this game and all of a sudden the Giants are blocking you.
Yeah.
Now you need to sound the alarms.
Bo Sports says, Brian and Voch, what's up, Bo Sports? He says, basically, I'll say it like this. What does Marist Liufau playing more look like? Which linebacker spot? How much more does he play? More passing down guy? Is he going to be a base guy? He probably won't start, because Flu said we'll see more of him. He's earned more opportunities. What does more Marist Liufau look like this week?
More Marist Liufau this week looks like probably base, but we talked about this yesterday with the way that the Giants like to spread you out too.
Yeah.
So maybe that doesn't, it's probably going to be, with Murray and Sanborn and those guys playing there.
Right.
But in the base, I could absolutely see him getting more work over Clark in this. You have to kind of figure out, though, too, where does Marist Liufau help you? Marist Liufau can help you as a rusher. There's one thing. Marist Liufau can go to a game and all of a sudden you put him into the game and you say blitz. He has got a feel for how to get to the quarterback. Now, the thing you got to worry about with Marist Liufau a little bit, the more that he plays, Voch, the more that he plays, there's those snaps where all of a sudden he undercuts a block.
Yeah.
and now he's out of position, or he does something that he probably shouldn't do. You know, that's you could get some absolutely brilliant play, and you could also get one or two plays where you're going, he can't run under that block. He has to play over the top of that block. And then there's a chunk play. So just know that you are going to get some hero ball where he's running under blocks, but you're also maybe going to get a guy that's going to make a tackle for a loss on a screen. He's going to read a play, get him away, and tip a ball. Or he's going to tackle Russell Wilson when he tries to run through the middle of that pocket.
Flus says that he earned an opportunity to get more reps.
Yeah.
We know how this coaching staff operates. You know what I mean? You got to show me a little bit more.
Right.
You know, Jaydon Blue is not playing for things like this, right?
Right.
What you think Marist Liufau didn't show that made him only earn 6 reps last week?
I think it was Clark was so good in training camp.
Okay.
I think it really came down to that they looked at Clark and they said, wow, this guy – for a guy that had played with little or no instinct at all, you know, the awareness, spatial awareness, it just guy that can run, guy that can tackle, guy that can do physical things. But when you put the mental side of things out there, you know, that's where, I mean, talking to Mike Zimmer about this, you know, if Mike said this, hey, if you don't understand what I'm trying to coach and what I'm trying to get you to do, I can't play you. I can't have you out there making mistakes. And I think that's what happened with Damone Clark. They were fine with him. Bones was fine with him playing special teams. But Mike wasn't fine with him doing things wrong on defense. And all of a sudden in training camp, he came around and he looked like he had better instinct. It looked like he was seeing the ball better. It looks like he was finishing better. Yeah. I think that he earned his starting role.
Sure.
And now it's kind of like, wait a minute. Kind of revert back to some of the things that we'd seen in the past that kept him from being that starter.
Will there ever be a world where the DC looks at Sanborn and says, I'm going to give these young guys a shot because you're just not athletic enough to do what we need, you know, what we need you to do?
I think there's a time where if you're really honest with yourself as a coach, and it's hard for a personnel guy unless you really, really know that coach. Like, I think Will McClay could go to Dan Quinn when they were together, and he could say, Dan, you really think this guy is this? And Dan would say, man, you're right. I think you have to be real mindful of this. And if you're the general manager, you could say these things. I mean, it's probably a little harder for Jerry Jones to walk up to Flus, even though Flus would say, yeah, Jerry, whatever, you know, you're the general manager. But usually general managers, I think Will McClay, if you have that type of relationship, you could say, is Jack really giving us everything that we need at linebacker, or can I help you there?
Right.
And I think you have to be able to have that conversation. But as a coach, you got to be willing to listen to what the personnel, you can't just sit there and say, well, this is my guy, that's my guy, that's my guy. Sure. You have to be willing to say, my guy's not getting the job done. And if they get through the season and we're in week 6 or week 7 and Jack Sanborn is not playing at a level that you thought he was going to play, you as a coach, you owe it to everybody on that team to say, I need to take a step back. If we need to play other guys, let's do that.
Bryan Broaddus. Voch says this. How long is the Miles Sanders leash? Going into week 2. Bryan, if it wasn't a fumble and if he didn't get caught from Zach Bond, boy, Cowboy Nation may say, boy, we got a cool little 1-2 punch here.
Sure.
Javonte Williams was real good with his carries, though.
Right.
So I know he's fine.
Right.
But a fumble and a catch from behind by Zach Bond is enough to, you know, put you on the rocks a little bit.
Sure.
But we know that the Cowboys are likely not going to make big changes at running back right now.
Right.
No Jaydon Blue.
Right.
And it's not likely that Lipke's going to get 10 carries in a game or nothing like that. So these are the guys we have.
Right.
What does the Miles Sanders leash look like in week 2, Bryan?
The Miles Sanders leash is long, and the reason it's long is because Jaydon Blue.
You can't count on Jaydon Blue.
Jaydon Blue. If Jaydon Blue had practiced at a high level, if Jaydon Blue had maybe shown up in the weight room, maybe was paying attention in the meetings, and I'm saying all these things as trying to get an idea.
We're just trying to figure out.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, because obviously he's not doing enough for Brian Schottenheimer and the offensive staff to put him on the field. if Jaydon Blue was doing everything in his power to play football on a weekly basis, and that leads up to Wednesday practice, Thursday practice, Friday practice. If he was doing all that, if he was doing everything in the classroom, if he was doing everything in the weight room, you'd be stupid not to play Jaydon Blue.
Sure.
But he's giving Miles Sanders a long leash because he's not doing. This is more about Jaydon Blue than it is Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's a fantastic answer, Bryan Broaddus. That's a Don DeMarco right there. Because where do you go?
Yeah.
Who do you run to?
Yeah.
You know?
They're going to put the veteran guy out there, and he might not be. He's the guy that's getting caught from behind.
Sure.
He's the guy that's fumbling.
Yeah.
But they're looking at it like, okay, would we rather a guy that might make a 49-yard run or a guy that could make a 49-yard run but is going to miss a blitz pickup, is not doing everything that we ask him to do, is not carrying it from the classroom to the field? You know, those are all things that you have to ask yourself. This is more about, I'm serious, this is more about Blue than it is about Sanders.
Now, Bryan, the Cowboys, in their mind, needed corner help, so they went to go get Reddy and Weezy.
Yeah.
In their mind, they needed some edge help, so they called Clowney to see what the business was. Hey,
Right.
let me just call you. They needed D tackle, right? Kenny Clark was a part of the, so the Cowboys is moving.
They're moving.
They moving and grooving. With the Miles Sanders leash being whatever it is, with Jaydon Blue not being, and I'm just air quoting dependable right now. It's just, they need him to be more consistent.
They're saying it.
They're letting
saying
you know.
it. They're saying it.
And they being as nice as possible.
They are absolutely being nice.
Like when coaches say something nice publicly, think that they said it mean in their mind for it, because that's how coaches really talk to you.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Cowboys could look outside for some running back, because they've proven that they'll look outside for help in other places? Do you think that they'll go find some running back that got cut, maybe trade a 5th-round pick for some running back on some team right now, maybe some dude on some practice squad could get picked up, or you think they're going to roll with these old guys that they got right now?
I think they're going to roll with the old dudes right now.
Okay.
And I think they're going to the way that they're handling the Blue situation can go two ways.
Sure.
He could say, it could be like Tyler Guyton. It could be like
he could
they're
pout.
right.
He could pout, or he could hunker down, take care of his business, and go have a fantastic rest of the season.
Yeah, that's that. This thing could go two ways.
Yeah.
Go pout and tell everybody that, oh man, this is a bad spot for me. They don't like, He could say all that.
Yeah.
Or he could take the Tyler Guyton approach and say, hey, they're right.
Do some yoga.
I need to be more. I need to be more.
Box in the ring.
Yeah, I need to be more attentive.
Yeah.
I need to learn. I need to understand. Take advantage of working with these old guys.
Sure.
That maybe that they're helping him along. But this, like I said, the next thing to me would be they'd just go, they'll elevate Malik Davis. Is what they would do.
Sure.
That's what they would do. They probably feel like that. Listen, if we have to go, let's get a back that we've worked with him. He came off the couch. Boy, he was productive, and now here he is on the practice squad. He's got explosiveness. He runs. He catches the ball. I think that's the route that they would go, at least initially, if they had to make that move. Yeah.
And look, he'll be ready. He'll roll off the couch and be ready to go.
Ready to go.
Because he's shown it, and his rent is definitely due. So I would love that opportunity for him. Bryan, how would you balance this? Voch says this, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I thought about this when I was in my office, putting my bag down, getting ready to come over here. You caused a little bit of a hubbub on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
When you was like, hey man, I'll put Nate Thomas at right tackle, right? Just see. Terence Steele.
Mm-hmm.
I know that another bad performance would prompt you to go, let's see what the young Nate Thomas has at right tackle.
Sure.
How do you balance the idea that Terence Steele is actually playing against some really good competition this week?
Sure.
See, last week, Nolan Smith, weird game versus Nolan Smith, but Nolan Smith ain't like TJ Watt, Miles Garrett. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, Kayvon Thibodeau isn't neither.
Right.
Abdul Carter isn't TJ Watt neither. But they are, I would say, a step up from last week's competition.
We'll put Brian Burns over there,
and Brian
too.
Burns as well.
Yeah.
So, Bryan, how do you balance evaluating Steele and his leash versus the good level of competition that we have coming up in week 2? That's a good question, Bryan Broaddus.
The way that I would evaluate him is that if you get into a game and all of a sudden 4 guys are doing their job and one isn't, where he's the one, where they're not getting pushed. Voch broke down on film for you the other day about when you start to talk about, Span Ford and Guyton, and they're able to get that push and get, and then get to second level. If you start to see where he is become the liability, and all of a sudden you're thinking, damn, if we just had a little bit more power on that side, if we just had a little bit more of a firmer pass set over there, if we didn't have a guy that got compressed into our quarterback, this is the evaluation, because you see Thomas was probably a couple of practices away from being the starting left tackle against the Philadelphia Eagles a week ago Thursday. He was probably a couple. Once Guyton got back, they said, okay. But to me, the evaluation of Steele is, if you're going to try and run this football and be successful at it, and he did a great job of coming all the way across the field and getting a block. That's what he can do. But if they're trying to run the ball to the right side and he's the reason why they're not getting push, and him and Span Ford and those guys are not working well together, that's where I look at this and say, you know what? We need to think about, and Brian Schottenheimer will tell us he's not interested in rotating tackles. I am. I'm interested in rotating tackles, especially if you're having problems running the football off that right side, or the pass protection. Dak Prescott is now wearing number 78 in his lap the majority of a football game. That's where I'm going to draw the line. If I start to see those problems, then we need to talk about Nate Thomas playing right tackle.
Yeah, I didn't even have a thought on it, Brian. I just wanted you to kind of get in on it, because I know Terrence was the worst out of your 5 last week.
He was.
And no disrespect to Nolan Smith, but Nolan Smith is a good player. He's a cool player. I think the guys that you're about to go up against this week, I think they're a little better than.
Well, you're going to see some guys here. Yeah. I mean, you're going to see some guys in the coming weeks, and now with Micah Parsons being in Green Bay, I would not be one bit surprised to see them move him and rush. I mean, rush. I think Guyton has gotten a little bit stronger. I think his set's a little bit better. Yeah. I think he's able to fight. He fights these guys that are kind of these fast, quick guys. Yeah. I think it's a little bit more of a problem for Terence Steele over there.
Brian, when we're evaluating Jaylen Tolbert this week, what are we looking for? Like, what are we looking for him to?
Oh, this is a Jaylen Tolbert week.
Yeah,
this is Jaylen Tolbert week. This is the week where Jaylen Tolbert gets 3 or 4 catches, and we all remember how good Jaylen Tolbert is. And I'm saying that because he's due for the really good game, and then it's like, that's the reason why they got Jaylen Tolbert on this team. And then it reminds us, and then he'll go and he'll have some quiet practices, and he'll have a quiet game against the Bears, and he'll have a quiet game against the Packers. And then all of a sudden he'll show back up against the Jets. That's just the way that Jaylen Tolbert's career is right now. He's due to have a really, really good game this week. He'll find a way, and Dak will find him, and he'll get open, and he'll catch a ball, and he'll make a play or two. Might even be down in the red zone. Might be down there in the red zone. Dak kind of rolling to his right. Jaylen Tolbert kind of loses himself. Boom, right there, touchdown. But he's due to have, and he's due to have because that's what his career has been. It's when you really start to get down on Jaylen Tolbert that he finds a way to have that game, and you're like, oh, okay, this is why they haven't. But the word consistency and Jaylen Tolbert don't go together. The thing that does happen to him is great game, 2 quiet games, and then another great game.
I asked because watching stuff asked about, could the Cowboys move on from Tolbert or trade him away or something like that? I don't think you're getting a pick that you would like if you trade Tolbert away. So I think you should just keep him. But if anything, what watching stuff is trying to get to is like, is there going to be competition in game to get Flournoy and Turpin going, maybe?
There you go. That's the question you have to ask yourself, because we had this discussion yesterday on 105.3 The Fan, and Gavin Dawson was saying, well, hey, this is I like Tolbert, or excuse me, I like Turpin, but can you get Turpin down the field? Can you get him doing Zach Wolchuk counters with, well, I would rather see Ryan Flournoy. If it's going to be a change out, let me see Ryan Flournoy get the Tolbert reps. And then that's where I just brought up the point that you and I just had.
Sure.
That no, watch. This is where Tolbert shows up, and then everybody feels good about him for a couple of games.
I think they're going to give Tolbert every opportunity to fight for his life.
Absolutely, they will.
You know, but I think at some point Flournoy has to get his too.
Yeah.
Because on the depth chart is Tolbert or Turpin.
Right.
You know what I mean? I haven't seen or on the depth chart before, Bryan Broaddus, but there it is. I think it's there's going to be opportunities for him. I don't want the Cowboys to force Tolbert the ball. We should still live with 3 and 88. But if they're going to be giving all this attention to 3 and 88, then Tolbert should be wide the hell open somewhere or finding his way to beat his coverage one-on-one somewhere. But we'll see, Bryan Broaddus. I got one more for you if you don't mind, sir.
Sure.
With DaRon Bland being out a couple weeks, we don't know, pending, what's your confidence in the cornerback room? And they said, keep up the solid work. My friends, crown up. That's Jonathan Gonzalez. Appreciate it, Jonathan.
Thank you.
What's your confidence in the cornerback room?
You know what? The football gods are not letting us play with Diggs and Bland. You know, it's just not happening right now. It's just unfortunate. Confidence level, I feel like listening to Matt Eberflus talk, about Reedy Stewart yesterday. To me, I've watched the tape. He is he's very competitive. How many times will Malik Neighbors play in the slot in this game? How many times are you going to see Rondell Robinson play in this game? How many, these are the things you have to. If you're the New York Giants, I think you're hunting Stewart. I think now you might be hunting Elam on that vertical game is what you might be doing. But the Giants have to prove that they can protect first. So to me, my confidence level is it was good going into post Philadelphia game because I'm like, here we go. Diggs is going to play more, and then they're going to use it. It's going to be Diggs, Elam, and Bland. Bland playing in the slot. This you're gonna get a situation where the Giants are going to try and win this game from the slot if they can. Yeah. They are going to make Stewart have to play in this football game. What you have to also hope is that the Dallas pass rush just is able to overwhelm the Giants, and then they're able to kind of control the game that way. But yes, there's some absolute concern here, especially with the type of player that Neighbors is, and then especially because I don't know if it's Matt Eberflus talked about traveling and all these things, but I think he said it in a way to make everybody feel like, yeah, I'll do it if I have to, but I really don't want to do it. I don't think he wants to do it. I think he wants to play sides. I think this is the Rod Marinelli in him. I think he just wants to play the sides and then see if he can manage that way. But yeah, absolutely, I have concern because I think Neighbors is the. I'll tell you my biggest concern. This is my kind of my Nick Eatman just saw this like, what's the crazy thing that's going to happen in this football game?
Sure.
Wacky. What's the wacky thing? I'm used to on DallasCowboys.com.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys are going to get ahead in this game, and at halftime they're going to put Jackson Dart in. And then all of a sudden now it's going to turn into a football game.
Yeah. And Dart is going to lead them back a little bit.
Yeah, Dallas is going to find a way to win this football game, but it's going to be all of a sudden it's like no Giant offense. Then Brian Daboll in the second half says Jackson Dart's going into the game, and now it turns into, oh, wow, the ball's going into the middle of the field. Oh, wow, the ball's going down the field. Oh, wow, there's quality passes being thrown here.
Right. They're not just, checking down every
and especially if Thomas plays. Sure. Especially if Thomas starts at tackle for the Giants. But my wacky, crazy prediction of the game, Dallas gets ahead at half comfortably, and like everybody's feeling a little bit good about the situation, and then all of a sudden Jackson Dart plays, and now it's a fight for your rear type game because all of a sudden the ball's being moved down the field.
I think Daboll's feeling pressure. I
agree.
To play the rookie.
I agree.
Like he wants to go with the veteran guy, I guess, because operation wise, the veteran, just old, hard headed coach thing.
Right.
But I think a lot of people want him to play the young guy, and Brian, if Russell Wilson goes out there and roll around and look crazy, and he got 80 passing yards at the half or something like that, I can see a world where Jackson Dart comes in and plays.
They're going to need the way the Giants' schedule plays out. The only real chance of a game they have where their competition, where they're kind of even, is the Saints. Yeah. But there's a couple of Philadelphia's in there. There's the Los Angeles Chargers in there. Kansas City's in there. They're not. This is not going to be. We're going to lose 3 or 4 games and then all of a sudden play Jackson Dart. I could see. Hey, we need a spark, good or bad. Very similar to what Bill Parcells did against with Drew Bledsoe against the Giants.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, but it didn't end up well for the Cowboys. But then you saw the next week where that was going to lead to.
Brian, one more question. Joseph Wishanowitz says, "Is there a way that we can listen to Crown Global Media on audio?"
Yeah, there is. Actually, we've got it now on Spotify. And then today, there's going to be some other platforms with Apple and some other. There's a list of them. I should have brought them onto the set with me today. But yeah, right now we're in on Spotify. And so, Zach, what was the other one you were telling me about? Which
Amazon.
And Amazon, yeah. And iHeart and those ones too. So yeah, just keep an ear out for that and check those out if those are where you handle your podcast business.
Nobody asked that question, Brian.
You made up that name?
Yeah. Joe Wishanowitz. I just made it up because I just I had the little thing on my phone there. I just wanted to let the people know that hey, you can listen to the Crown Global Media Doing All Right podcast or any of our podcasts, our future podcasts. You can listen to them on your audio platforms whenever you.
I thought you say Joe and Flower Mound.
No, I ain't said that. No.
Joe and Flower Mound's one of my made-up guys.
Joe
and Flower Mound was always asked great draft questions.
I just be making up names, Brian Broaddus. You know me. Kafelkovich, Jeffrey, whoever. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Love y'all to pieces on this Friday. The Cowboys going to go out there and do their thing, and we'll be right back up in here on Monday to break it all down for you. And a regular week. It's going to be another Sunday game after that? Just all Sunday games?
All Sundays, yeah. All Sundays.
Right, so a normal 5-day-a-week schedule, ladies and gentlemen. So please tap in with us. Hit the sub button and hit the like, all the YouTube things. Y'all follow BRY and Broaddus on social medias. I'm VOCHLOMBARDI, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.